what's up guys, this is Church of Caboose, and for today's Destiny 2 video, we're going to try something a little new and talk in broad strokes about a lot of the big new developments, the stuff that's kind of going on with the game, and perhaps give you guys some updates on different things like error codes that our topics are covered in past videos. So that'd be a kind of a fun way to just talk about things broadly instead of having a whole 15-minute video for each section like a lot of YouTubers doing. Because ain't nobody got time for that, so I thought we would try this out. Before we get on into the video, if you do like it, please click the like button. And if you want to see more content like this, or like raid guides, tutorials, all that goodness with Destiny 2 specifically, make sure you guys click subscribe. So the first thing that we're going to discuss is Guardian Games. We are well underway. We're like day 5 or so with the Guardian Games, and so far, those Crayon Eaters, I guess I'm one of them, are winning. We have quite the commanding lead, but there is some controversy around especially how Titans got this lead, as well as what strategies people are using to acquire the heir apparent exotic light machine gun. So evidently, there are some full Titan clans that realized if they deleted a character or if they had an open slot, create a new character, they could just farm those gold medals that Eva Levante gives you at the beginning when you start the whole questing for registering for the Guardian Games. And then word leaked out from those Titan clans, and now I would imagine a lot of people in general are probably doing it. So unfortunately, in my opinion, the games are now ruined. It's hard to be no matter who wins, doesn't even matter really at this point. No matter who wins, everyone else is going to be like, oh, they only won because they cheated by deleting a character. Now, some people are being like, that's not cheating, that's using the game. Like, no. The whole point of this thing was to see whose class is the best and most dedicated, meaning like playing on your character. So I would assume the spirit of this competition wouldn't be to do the classic Destiny 2 scummy thing, which is to find the easiest way of doing something without being able to put in the most amount of work. Now, this Guardian Games is free to play, so normally I'd be like, why would you pay this much money for a game and not actually play it? But so perhaps that free-to-play thing is playing into this quite a bit, because that means there's more people out there that are just enjoying the games and just trying to get that machine gun. I did manage to get my hands on the heir apparent machine gun, and it is a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. It gives you a big old arc shield. If you throw on an Actium War Rig on a Titan, you get to shoot this sucker endlessly. I put on Machine Gun Scavenger, Heavy Ammo Scavenger, as well as on my Actium War Rig, Machine Gun Reserve, so I can hold up to 520 rounds and pull off moments like this. So that was pretty cool. I've been loving using this machine gun, running around and using it on those tanky bosses, and I tried to experiment some with it in the Master Nightfall, and I do really enjoy the heir apparent exotic machine gun. How you get the machine gun is by completing 7 triumphs within the Guardian Games, so make sure you guys are playing your medals and getting all that good stuff done so you can get this weapon, because I would imagine, much like the Arbalest, once this event is over, you can no longer acquire the heir apparent. And if you're a Titan main, I feel straight up like Arnold Schwarzenegger walking around. So yeah, y'all, get your hands on that exotic machine gun. Use Actium War Rig if you're a Titan, and if you're other classes, I don't know, let me know down below. I would imagine having on something like Lunafaction boots for Warlocks would be pretty good, and then Hunters, you can just dodge and get your reload. So I'd imagine this thing would be a beast no matter what the character. It just seems like it's a Titan weapon. Like, I don't know, it just screams Titan, because, you know, Rambo and Arnold Schwarzenegger. So anyways, a couple of last controversies I want to wrap up with. Unfortunately, there's now a whole lot of loot you can acquire from this particular Guardian Games. So how every day works is no matter like how depending upon how your team, like your warlocks or hunters are Titan placed, you get an equivalent reward. So Titans have been winning, so whenever I log in, I get a gold reward. But I don't get Guardian Games loot. To get all that loot, you have to go through Eververse. And I've been trying to look through. I can't find anything sold for Bright Dust. Maybe the next couple of weeks things will change. But this first week it's all for silver. And some people are like, yeah, like the game's free to play. Bungie has to make their money somehow. But I would argue we pay for season passes. People pay for the games. There's people buying like this Eververse stuff for real, like actual world money for other different things. So why can't we at least have some of this Guardian Games loot available to be unlocked from playing? Because that's been one of the biggest issues with Destiny 2 so far, especially since Shadowkeep, which is fall of 2019, is that we don't have a whole lot of like loot we can acquire from doing strikes. It's mostly Eververse. And I'm just getting kind of tired of people being like, Bungie doesn't have money. No, they've got money. And then lastly, the Guardian Games, they're super grindy. People are really upset about all the bounties that you have to do and such. Some folks are trying to ask me like, hey, how can I get this machine gun done quickly without having to lose my mind? And unfortunately, you can either cheat or play legitimately. If you play legitimately, I would say using 3 characters, it's fine because Bungie was weird and didn't let you get like maximum medals. Like I would assume if you're going to find out who's the most dedicated class, then you would be able to have unlimited medals per day. Just however many you want to do, you can do. Not this cap of 7 per day per class. So you kind of have to play on all 3 characters, which is kind of weird given the whole point of Guardian Games. So that's like the last controversy with Guardian Games. Overall, I am not like a huge fan. Like I'm not going to be like, I love it. At first, I thought it was pretty cool. But I also don't hate it. I'm not a huge fan of having to do all these bounties and having all these medals that make me play stuff over and over, especially since I have these triumphs done now, which maybe I shot myself in the foot a little bit by getting all of those laurels and everything farmed out, so that way I didn't have to worry about it later. So now doing these medals is kind of like, why? Because I already got all the stuff, so like, you know, you see what I'm saying? Alright, so that's the end of Guardian Games. Now we're going to talk a little bit about these error codes that have been pesky as hell since the beginning of the season of The Worthy. So a little while ago, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks or so ago, I made a video about like something like, Bungie, what are you doing? Something like that. The whole gist of the video was about Watercrest, because I have not been able to play on my Xbox account for about 3 weeks now, and this whole error code Watercrest thing has been going on since day 1 of Season of The Worthy. Like there's like polls going on even in the forums of like, how long have you been locked out? And Bungie hasn't really said a whole lot, and that was something that made me really frustrated as a player that was affected by Watercrest, was that this error code was preventing me from being able to play with my friends and on a platform, and during quarantine it was just really frustrating. Completing things I wanted to do has been much more difficult on Stadia, mostly because there's not that many players. Not because the players there suck, it's because I don't have a lot of options, so finding teams can take a while. And one of my biggest qualms about the whole Watercrest issue was not necessarily that it was taking time to fix Watercrest, because I acknowledged with like everything going on, I would assume it would take more time to fix this error code than it would if we weren't going through a pandemic. But like Bungie wasn't talking a whole lot whenever they replied to someone on a forum. It was usually a copy and paste answer. So I was just like, hey, like, can we just get some kind of like a personalized statement or reply, something just to make us feel like we're actually heard? Because you can tell us we're listening all you want, but for me, if it's a copy and paste kind of an answer, it'll always more of like, you're not actually listening, you're just trying to get us to shut up. That's kind of how that usually feels to me. And Bungie surprised me. I was scrolling through the forums on Tuesday, April 21st, and I saw a reply from Bungie, so I wanted to thank them for doing what they did, and then we'll talk about the other error codes really briefly. We're trying to wrap this thing up here, guys. So here's some screenshots I took. Hi, whatever, Jade Masoning. I saw your thread and thought I'd have a response since there's some misconceptions being made here. First off, I completely understand everyone's frustration with the Watercrest and Newt error codes. We are frustrated too. My team is constantly seeing reports and engaging with players about the issue. I know our message is the same for everyone, but that is because we don't have any other information to provide. When we suggested cross-save as an alternative method to play, it wasn't to suggest that players purchase anything, but that it's an option if they already have it set up. That's on us for sharing information without explaining that it's just a workaround and not a solution. Secondly, the teams investigating these issues don't work on live events like Guardian games. In the post of the person he had mentioned, like, why can't you fix this when you're doing Guardian games? That's an entirely separate team. We have many teams who work on fixing the game too, which is why we had an update this week. So instead of me reading out the rest of this, I was going to leave it on screen for a little bit. Basically, Bungie's being like, hey, here's something that's not a copy and paste answer. Here's kind of what we are doing. Here's a little bit more info on how the different teams and events operate and stuff. And so this whole message that was put out makes me feel so much better about not being able to play on Xbox. I mean, obviously I'm still frustrated. I'm not on Xbox and I'm on Stadia. But I originally got really ticked off when they were like, yeah, just be on cross-save. And I was like, what? That's not a solution. That costs money. And so, I don't know, this seeing this whole thing gives me a lot more hope for everything being fixed. There was also some other error codes going around, like Weasel, Beaver, a bunch of different error codes, and Bungie has been recently a lot more open about how they're trying to approach all these error codes, and I feel like they've done a better job of actually fixing them. I haven't seen as many complaints on the forums since the update on the 21st went live. Not saying they don't exist, it's just not fluttering my feed as much when I scroll through forums and things. It's mostly all on the Watercrest. So I just wanted to say thank you to Bungie for putting out more of a personalized response instead of cut and paste. That makes me I just feel so much better seeing that information. And if you're one of my loyal subs who is going through the same problem, I'm curious, does this make you feel better, or are you still just really ticked off that you can't play? I don't know. If you can't play, try out Stadia. Message down below, and I'll do my best to help you get that all set up. It's free for 2 months. So for me, that's been what I've been doing in order to get all the new content. Okay, so let's move on to talking broadly about Trials and some anticipated ideas / fixes that Bungie is doing with Trials. The Trials of the Osiris, when it was first announced for Season of the Worthy, Bungie was like, we don't want this to come out half-baked. And it flopped. People are like, is Trials basically dead? And there's so many cheats. The weekend leading up to Trials, 300,000 PC cheats were downloaded, something like that. It's been nuts. Thankfully on console, there's not as many cheaters. I think it's mostly because it's a little bit harder to cheat on console because you don't have as much direct access to the hardware. But there are still cheaters, whether it be internet manipulation or other variations. And I don't know a whole lot about it because I don't cheat. And I don't really feel like giving myself that, since I know about it, could I do it? I don't want to deal with that. So here's some of the things that Bungie is trying to do to get more people to play Trials and some ideas for trying to get around and helping with the cheating and all that good stuff. One of the first things that I thought was really cool is Bungie's talking about for Season 11 or 12. These things will not happen Season of the Worthy. They're discussed about for 11 or 12, or maybe not even a timeline, would be putting in some sort of a paywall or time to play in order to access Trials. They don't have this set in stone, so they want your feedback. So if you're watching this video and you haven't read the TWAB, try and find the TWAB and give Bungie some kind of feedback. One of the ideas they're talking about is in order to play Trials, that account must have 100 hours played in Destiny 2. So you can't just create an account, cheat, get banned, create an account, cheat, get banned. You'd have to create an account, play for 100 hours, then cheat and get banned and have to do that 100 hours over again. The other thing that Bungie's talking about, which is doing either in addition to or separately of the time in game wall, would be a paywall. So instead of being able to have Trials that's free to play, which again, they're not changing anything for Season 10, but maybe Season 11 you might have to pay, I don't know, make up a number, $20. You pay $20, then you can play Trials of Osiris, which would make it a little bit more time consuming, or I guess financially difficult, for a cheater to be like, yeah, I'll just pay $20, get banned, pay $20, get banned. One could argue that with people that are getting paid to do recoveries, it won't make much of an impact, which is kind of my opinion, because they'll just raise their prices for getting people flawless runs and such. So like maybe when it have a huge impact, but there's another thing that Bungie said they're going to do that I think will help mitigate people just raising their prices and folks being able to be down for doing recovs. If you're not familiar with recovs, recoveries are usually when you pay someone to like play as you. So you give them your account information, they hop on as your character, they play as you, get you whatever it is you paid them for, and then they leave. Which, by the way, don't do that. That's dangerous. You put yourself at all kinds of security risks. People could buy stuff on your Xbox, like under your account if you have your cards linked. So like, don't do that. But there are people that have been doing these account recovs. And some of these recovs, or who knows how many, cheat. So Bungie has actually said before, only the cheater would get banned. So like, say I'm in a fire team with a cheater, but I'm not cheating, but the other person is, only the cheater would get banned. But now, we all would get banned. So like, if you were with that person, and you're like, oh my gosh, they're cheating, and you bail, like you finish out that game and you're done, then like you're in the clear. Like, report them to Bungie, like they won't care. But if you know they're cheating, or or if they are cheating and you ride them out for multiple wins or even a flawless, you will also get banned. So like, don't be just sticking out with people because like you're getting wins, especially if you're like, I think they might be cheating. Report them, get out of the fire team, because you do not want your account to get banned, especially if you are not the one that's cheating. And then with all these paywalls and everything that are being discussed, it'll be pretty difficult to get back into playing Destiny 2 again, at least as far as Trials of Osiris is concerned. So I'm really happy with a lot of the measures Bungie is taking in broad terms to prevent cheaters. They did say there's been a 50% increase of cheating in these endgame things such as Trials, which is huge. So they're finally talking numbers. And then I want to talk a little bit about the rewards. They're going to re-look at the reward system. They're going to make 3, 5, and 7 wins and flawless, give you things like more tokens, give you maybe more masterwork materials, that sort of thing, to try and make it more useful for people to go for a flawless instead of farming those 3 wins. Because what was happening in the past was people would take advantage of token farming, and they would only get like the actual horizon. They only got the shotgun at 3 wins, so they played those 3 wins over and over and over and over and over, stomping on the low-level players because they didn't have enough of an incentive to go up to the higher parts of the card to go for flawless. So Bungie's looking at making everything more rewarding as you get more wins for everything in the game. Bungie's also doing a thing where you're going to get a weapon bounty or a gear bounty. What they're going to do is whatever that 3-win reward is, you can get that reward by completing a bounty. So you don't necessarily have to get 3 wins. Just play the game, play the mode, I guess, get those that bounty done, and you get the same reward that people at 3 wins would get, and you can also turn in tokens, which is great. So guys, if you were like hanging out from Trials because you're like, it's not rewarding enough, I would highly suggest you to reconsider and look at going back into Trials, especially when Season 11 and 12 rolls around. Alright guys, thank you guys all so much for watching this video. I really hoped that this was useful to you. Every topic that I discussed in this video, I have seen people do 20 to 30 minutes on each individual topic, so I tried to cram all 3 of the big things into one less than 20-minute long video, and I hope this met your guys' needs. And so if not, let me know down below. I might be interested in trying to do more videos like this in the future, but a lot of me doing this because this takes quite a bit of work and looking up and scripting things to be short in my head and whatnot. It's a lot of work. Let me know if you appreciate it down below. Give me input of ways I can get better. You're also welcome to join my Discord and be like, hey, can you do a video with your last one or whatever, covering this topic? I want to know more without having to watch 40 minutes. I am Church of Caboose. Have a great week and happy grinding, y'all.